Okay, so I haven't made a lot of videos in a long time, and it's because I just completely forget. There's a few headphones I have made reviews for, but there's a few in the collection I just haven't looked at yet. So let's take a look at them. It's going to be the 600 series from Sennheiser, but we'll look at them one at a time, and then I'll also talk about them like head to head in comparison, and then I'll also talk about them with the mod, the custom cans copper weight mod that kind of helps with its low end. So that's what the plan is. That's what I'm going to be doing, and I really hope that you guys enjoy. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So let's look at HD580s first. So everybody talks about the build. Let's just say like very quickly, all plastic except for the headband that's made out of metal, and of course the driver, like the copper coil and the magnet inside here. Super easy to field dress and take apart. So that's something that I really love about these. Let's go to the desk scene, and you'll see what you do is you push these in, and then you pull this out, okay? And that's it. It just it just comes off super easily. All right, I'll show you again. You just pull this out, pull that out, bam. Look at that, easy. And then for the only thing that you need a tool for, okay, is this little clip here. You just pop that out with a knife, and then you can slide the hanger, which is attached permanently to this metal adjustment thing, okay? And then you can slide the head strap off. Now, I've always been an advocate, like supporter of freaking AKGs. Like, I always said that, oh, AKGs are awesome and you can replace everything on these. But, I mean, the more and more I worked on these, more and more I just got pissed. You have to solder a few things and you have to desolder a few things. It's crazy. But the thing is, for Sennheisers, there's no desoldering at all. Okay? AKG, learn a few things. Please. I love K240s. I'll still never stop wearing them. But I digress. This is the original pads. So I'm going to talk about a few things that are bad about these that wear out quickly. This pad here and this pad, okay. This is the head strap padding. As you can see, that's freaking flat as a board. And the foam inside here, I can feel it. It's just sticky and gross. So that piece is gone. These are the original pads. Now, I've always been somebody that thinks that original pads are they just hold up better than anything for some dumb reason. As you can see, these are actually worn HD600s. So when I first got my HD600s, which I did get secondhand, the pads that were on here are these ones, and these are used to hell, but they stuck like that. They just stayed flat. And then these are the original 580 pads, and these are also like used. I can feel it that they're not firm anymore, but they still hold their shape better. It's ridiculous. Anyways, field dressing not finished yet, huh? So let me just note, all right? These things are one of the few things you need to replace. I think I would say pads no more than 2 years if you don't daily them. If you daily them, minimum a year, you may see these have to be replaced. And then for this thing here, this is the head band. I don't know how long this takes for this to really break on you, but this you'll now know what that looks. This is gone. Okay, so brand new pads that I put. Oh, actually no, these are 600. These are the HD600s, the used ones I put on this. I put the used pads on the 580s. But anyways, field dressing, right? For the cup here, you pull that out and then bada bing da boom. That's the cup. You pull this out here. There's little pegs that hold this in place. Right over here, and that just pops out, and there it is. And then the pads are super easy. They're just a little clip. There's like a plastic ring here that just seeds right into the cup, and you just pull that out, and there it is. And then this little foam insert is where they get you. This is where Sennheiser gets you. This gets broken in over time from pad swapping, so don't do it often. Okay, unless you have to and you're forced to. But that right there is the plastic lip that seeds into this little cavity there, on all over the driver, and now, or the inside of the cup. And as you can see, that's the driver. It's very nice and tiny. And in the back of the driver, assembly can be completely removed. As you can see, this right here is where you plug your cable into, and that can just be lifted out. There's just being held in with these two clips. Okay, ignore the back of this. This has been modded, as well as my 600s. I'm using a custom cans weighted copper mod, which again I'll do a separate video on. But this dampening material. So cool trivia. I'll say some trivia here and there when talking about the headphone. This pad, or not pad, but the dampening material here, this paper, when it's black like this, it's an older model. I know with the 600s, they adopted the same dampening material in the early decade or so, and then a little bit later on in its production run, you'll see silver or white show up, and that's what's used even in the 6XX, and that's how you know it's a newer can. So besides that, that's the field dressing. That's literally field dressing a 600 series headphone. It hasn't changed, and the parts as well has not changed. How about I show you that? So here I have 6XX. I love taking these apart. They're so easy. So this grill here is newer, and it's made out of metal. This is the one thing that changed over the years. And also to mention what's changed over years is the head band here. But I digress. But as you can see, this part here is what you'll want to replace if you want to use a newer cable on your 580s. And I'll show you why. Okay, so this right here is the 6XX, and this is the 580s, and the hole is actually smaller because the older cables were smaller. They had smaller heads. So if I take a 6XX or 58X or 650, anything new, okay, I take the cable and I put it in to the 580. You'll see it doesn't seat all the way through. I can't, and if I force it, I'll break it. And then this is the new clip here. If I do that, look at that. Goes all the way through, easy peasy. So typically, it's either you have to find original cable that came with 580s, or the early runs of the 600, or you can just take this out. Take this out, okay? That's a little easier, a little cheaper, and then you get your cup. You don't add that plastic part in, and then this part here will be exposed completely, allowing you to put the new plugs in. So if you ever have to, if you ever have a pair of newer proprietary, because these are proprietary plugs, it's like 2 pins on both the left and right side. One is bigger than the other. One's smaller, one's bigger. If you ever have a 580 and you have that freaking issue where you have the newer plug and it doesn't fit inside the old thing, yeah, just take the dingus out and you're fine. So yes, let's put this back together and let's talk about sound. So 580s. The Precisions are, in my opinion, one of the more warmer headphones of the bunch, and I think they are the warmest. I haven't heard what HD 660S sounds like or 650, but these are a warm headphone. They have a nice, beautiful, rich low end. But on top of that, because of the driver technology and speed, I would confidently say that these are not the most fastest headphones. And I think that even fanboys of this headphone recognize that. With any of the 600 series headphones, they're not really that fast. There's a graininess to 580 that exists. I don't know what it is. And it kind of also starts to show up once we look at imaging. The sense of left and right are super apparent on this and very highly accurate, but they tend to it tends to be lost in the middle of your head. So whenever you're listening to a song that can be doing a sweep from left to right, it typically sounds as though you are running into a cloud. Like the sound runs into a cloud and it's just very, very blind, but not too much. You can kind of get a figure of what's going through this cloud or this mist. But from left to right, as soon as it goes into the middle, it's just a cloud. It's not the clearest imagery that you can it's not the clearest image to hear. So that's that. All right, but sound staging on these, it's not the widest either. These are actually very intimate. These are very closed. I would say even closer than, well, actually, 580s in particular, 580 Precision are almost as wide as Beyerdynamic DT480, 48, DT48, yeah, DT48E. Okay, that's how intimate these are. DT48Es, very similar. Now, besides the warmth, because of the attenuation to high end, these have high end, but it's not high, and they have mid range, and they're clear as day, and they're beautiful for mid range. I would say that these almost will change your mind. Like if I've already talked to you, if I've already convinced you as a viewer to from previous videos to always take a look at take a look at M220s, okay? M220s, AKG K240s, K240 monitors, the studios, the DFs, the Sextets, K241s, like these are the mid-range monsters for their price, and they are the monitoring headphone for you, for vocal. Like I love these. But 580s, these were the second pair of Sennheisers I've owned. Second that came in the mail. The first ones I got were 6XX. These freaking insane. Almost made me think, why would I need any other headphone? Okay, that was my first reaction when listening to any of the 600 series. Why would I want any other headphone? And it was no different from the 580 Precision. These are amazing. They're crazy. I really love the way that these feel on your head. Like these are worn in, so the clamping force is not as strong. It's something that isn't as used. And the parts, again, I always have been an advocate for AKG because like I thought everything on them were super easy to fix. But there's soldering that is involved, that is kind of forced, besides pad swapping and the head strap and stuff. But for this, absolutely no tools necessarily are needed. Now, these aren't made in Ireland anymore, and or well, 580 Precisions in general, not made at all. These are discontinued. You can only buy them either NOS, okay, new old stock, or you can buy them used secondhand if you're lucky and they're not in bad shape. But besides the spring issue for the driver, because they use a spring, that's the reason why it kind of fits nice and snug inside of the driver. It's not only the plastic that is being hugged, but even the clipped part or the nicked part of the plug, which is kind of hard to see on the camera. And also my camera's flipped. I apologize, but it's kind of like straight and it's tampered in, and then it goes into a triangle, and that tampered in part is where the spring fits in on the plug from the driver. So that can wear out over time, as well as the padding. But I mean, if you're not plugging and unplugging things on your 600 series headphone, you have no issues. But the 580 started it all. This shape really paved the way for what would be Sennheiser's successful HD600s, 650s that came after in the 660S. Only change was that this plastic cup here is now metal. And again, you can put the metal ones on these. You can replace the head band if you want to, like this head strap, the plastic part here that says Sennheiser, replace it. The driver at that point, it won't be a 580, but you can put a different driver on this as long as it's not 58X or it's not 660S, because the driver is different. But yeah, 580s. I love these things. They're beautiful, and the most common thing I like to do with these, I don't have the pads right now, but I actually suggest looking into aftermarket leather, PU leather, just fake leather pads. Put it on these, because that can help with low end. These headphones are known to not really have the most boomy or the most impactful bass, so doing the copper mod can really help. Kind of like just fixate on low end and really make the sub bass more prominent. But it's not worth it. I'll talk about that in a separate video, but it's not worth it to go that route. Spend less money, just get different pads for these. Again, the PU leather really works at channeling and keeping the low end in there, and then that graininess is just not as noticeable once the bass starts to fill in and bleed through that low mids. And I just don't really see any issues with 580 besides, well, you can't buy it. Like, I don't know how common 580s are. Freaking AKG monitors are more common than 580, and I thought monitors were rare. So yeah, these are a headphone you probably can't find in good condition. And even if you did find them in good condition, they'll be expensive. And you'll start to question what other headphones are there at this price that I can buy brand new. So honestly, 580s are a beautiful sounding headphone. They're not the widest. They're a little warm, and they benefit from being on a tube. Kind of widens them up a little bit, and also does help with the warmth. But 580s, man, just 580s. Like, I wanted to daily these. I actually always pick these up to play with, and that's what I've always loved. People will say, all right, don't change the pads. It's going to change the sound, and you get a more open sound if you do changes to the metal grills and stuff. But I'm like, honestly, and also the mod thing too. I think a lot of elite HD600 owners are going to be like, why did you even mod these? Keep the 580s as is, but I love the sound. You may not like it, I like it, okay? Putting those freaking leather pads on these, amazing, I like it. You may not like it, that's fine. But I think that's always what it's been down to with 580s for me, is that the 580 Precisions are not a headphone it's not like I won't trust them for mixing and mastering, but whenever I pick these up, I've had fun, and that's what I've always loved about them, is that they were always fun to me. These were a fun headphone. They are a fun headphone. And they'll always give me fun for years to come. So that's the 580s, okay? That's my thoughts on them. They're amazing. I love them. I'm happy that these were the second that I owned in terms of the Sennheisers. After this, I'll be talking about 600s, and then 6XX and 58X. But yeah, that's HD680 Precision. Man, I don't know what else to say. Impedance, I think it's 300 ohms. Not that bad to drive. I can run them off my phone, but of course it's not loud enough. You will need a dedicated amp for these. The 600 series typically are a little bit more hungrier than most, but yeah, 580 Precision. Beautiful headphone. Beautiful design. Everything's replaceable, and the pads and stuff are still being made. So, I mean, these will never die. 580s. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you in the 600 video.